Franchises. It really is a different type of business model. You're going to be using some of the other structures, either a sole proprietorship or a partnership or a corporation, to actually buy a legal right, purchasing a franchise, because any one of those structures over here. But a franchise is actually a prefabricated business model for you to go into. So that being said, you'll have a franchise agreement whereby somebody has a good idea. Yo, I have this idea. Look at this over here. You too can be wealthy like me someday. Okay, it gives you a right to use the business name, sell the product or service that they have to other franchisees in the given territory. So that being said, it depends how you want to structure it. Now, there's over 733,000 franchises businesses, and they create about 7.6 million jobs. It's a big component. It's a big component where you live. If you drive into any large shopping center, there's a high probability that 50% plus or more than 50% in that shopping center will be franchises of some different type. Some of them are really shocking. Obviously, you have the McDonald's, yes, you have Wendy's, you have all the different fast foods. They're all franchises, but some of the smaller ones actually are franchises as well. You sign an agreement, 7.5% of your gross revenue comes to me. Yes, yes, yes. And you get to keep all the rest of it and all the expenses and everything else. So it's a good idea, and it depends what you have. Some of them have fabulous agreements that are out there, and the agreements provide a lot of training. And sometimes, like McDonald's will choose the site that you will put in. They will buy the site, you'll lease the site from them. They build the building to their exact specifications. They decorate the building according to their specifications, and you get to choose the employees and the local food suppliers in the region, such as the meat and so on. Everything else is decided for you by the corporation. They tend to always make money, but they have high control and expectations. And you must go to Hamburger U and get trained as to how to go about foot burgers the McDonald's way. So that being said, you have that high control one, and then you have Willie's and Billy's air conditioning franchise. You pay $7,000, and we'll give you a manual to operate over here, and you run it the way you want to. And someday give us a call. Okay, so you have the high structure and the no structure, and they're all out there. We call them franchises. So the advantages, they will give you management and marketing assistance in a business you may have never even thought about owning or have any idea how to operate. You get a chance of personal ownership. You get to buy into a national name. You get some free financial advice. And the low failure rate is a little bit wrongly stated. The issue comes down to is that if you get in financial trouble, the franchise or may not want to have their name dragged through the mud. So they may end up buying you out or finding the buyer to buy you out in the process in case you're struggling in the process. So the low failure rate, the number is improperly inflated in the process. And if you go back, the data, a lot of times the franchise boards are out there. We only have this percentage out of here. It's data drawn from a 1960s study. So I really question that low failure rate. I think it's probably higher. It's just the franchisors, none of them want to ever sit down and have one of their stores fail. The disadvantage is there's large startup costs. It can cost an awful lot of money, up to $1 million+. We'll look at some of them in just a minute. You also have to share the profit with the franchisor. Okay, there's a lot of regulations, and then the franchisor does fabulous, you're good, but if they do poor, you get to do poor too. They restrict on territory of selling, and some of them are crooks out there. And they're not bad anymore because the regulations are tighter, but they still exist in the process. Over here, here's a real hatchet job over here. It's called a cutting edge company, Stumpy's Hatchet House. Oh yeah, over here, we're gonna go out to the bar and we're gonna be throwing hatchets at each other. Well, maybe not each other. We'll do it to little wooden targets at the end over here. That's just how it works over there. Anyway, so by the time it's all done, you get a franchise fee of $35,000. You get to sit down and throw hatchets at wooden targets over there and sell beer and whatever else you could possibly do. It's actually a lot of fun to actually go ahead, provided that everybody is safe and they don't stand in front of the wooden target. So that being said, you get service franchises. Dogs, wag and wash. They sit down, you bring your dog in, drop it off, and they'll wash your dog for you. Okay, so by the time you're all done, they get to clean your pooch for you. And by the time it's all done, you pay them a fee, and you get some of the better parts of the dog instead of the worst parts when you have to deal with that. So by the time it's all done, there are 9 states. That's kind of a fun franchise. There's a lot of home-based ones where you get to stay home the entire time, okay? But you get long hours isolation because no matter what happens, you're running the business. It's going to take an awful lot of time. Here's some of your top home-based franchises. Home Helpers, the senior care industry is huge and can make an awful lot of money. Cruise planners, the number is that 88% of all cruises, of people that go on cruises, 88% have a return rate. It's a fabulous industry to get into. Card cleaning system out there. You want to go clean your house. This is the way to go about do it. Snap-on tools. They got a snappy title. Okay, you always have that over there. Matco. You've probably seen Snap-on and Matco tools driving down the street in trucks with their names on the side of it. Social Owl, CleanNet, Budget Blinds. You've seen some of these out there, and they're home-based franchises where people are working out of their home based upon a franchise with company trucks, labels under trucks, and so on. Sometimes e-commerce and franchising, if you look the reality of the world today, we do a lot of brick and mortar, and we also do online. Even Amazon now has brick and mortar stores. Brick and mortar is a term we use for physical locations of stores, but it depends. A lot of franchises prohibit franchise sponsored sales sites because it could have eruptions could happen because of the fact that your territory should be only this big, and if you're encroaching on somebody else's that has a franchise to the area, so you'll see a lot of them prohibiting e-commerce because you have a geographic territory to deal with. And sometimes there's reverse royalties that are sent to franchisees who believe their sales are hurt. So that's why that really is prohibited an awful lot of times by people that are online, okay, as a franchise. So franchisors get to expand their brands, the customers. You'll see a lot of times that franchises will go past international barriers, and you'll see foreign franchises coming to the United States, but a lot of times U.S. franchises are going out into different markets. So over here, you'll see over in India, the Colonels, they have to appeal to millions of vegetarians, so they have KFC has a lot of meatless burgers out here in the process, and meatless different substitutes that have no animals in it because it's over there in India. My experience, I mentioned previously, when I went to Egypt, KFC in downtown Cairo is a big, cool place for young people to go on dates and everything else. It's like one of the hot venues, that and Pizza Hut, and they're American franchises out there. So people like that, some of the high flyers out there are McDonald's, Dunkin'. Now, keep in mind, Dunkin' now, they're only Dunkin', not Dunkin' Donuts. Sonic Drive-In, Taco Bell, the UPS stores in the top 10, Culver's, Planet Fitness, great business model, great clips. Jersey Mike's, we talked about that earlier, and then also 7-Eleven. By the time you're done, these are some of the big ones out there. Now, co-ops are a little bit different animal, and if you go on the internet and search which are some of the big co-ops, you'll be surprised by some of the names. You'll see a lot of hardware companies, Ace Hardware, is a major co-op. You'll see different aspects of memberships that are involved, the membership model, but the co-ops are owned and controlled by people that use it, so it depends who they are. There's over 1 billion members in different co-ops out there, so pay attention out there. True Value Hardware, you'll see the Farmers Insurance, you'll see different companies out there. So franchises and co-ops, by the time you're all done, you lump them together, but the reality of it comes down to is that franchises really are a good prefab business model. So you use your business structure and you purchase rights to a franchise, and you two can go into business that you may have no experience in, but have an opportunity to be successful if you buy the right franchise that's a good fit for you. Take care.